Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stockradar, Stocks on the Move for another week. We're coming from the snow this week, so I've got a slightly slower than usual internet, and I'm reading my script off my phone today, so just be patient with me. Our studio environment is not quite here today, but we'll get through a lot of good stuff today. So just be a bit patient with me. So we are running with the bulls. We run with the bulls and we hide from the bears. And we're in the hide from the bears situation at the moment. I'm going to talk a little bit about this, the opportunities, the buys that we're looking at. Okay. Hi, my name is Richard Lee. Stockradar provides an armoury of tools, education and live examples that guide members through a process to ensure they have complete grasp of the requirements to run a portfolio of stocks. For us, follow us or do it yourself. We help members succeed in creating their own wealth generation techniques for equities trading. So I simply mentioned to you, we are at the snow at the moment, so just be a bit patient. We're in hiding apart from a couple of stock picks at the moment. We do have a couple of stock picks, but generally we're in cash. As we hide from those bears, we get ready to run with the bulls, which will happen from the most unlikely spot and when sentiment is quite likely to be despairing. This is exciting times. So look under the hood for prospects that belie movement in the big stock-driven ASX 200. Great adjustment is in some overblown techos, health and high-yielding retail stocks amongst many other stocks as down they come. Buying interest is displayed in the volume patterns. It will start with a few stocks and build from there. We are searching for those early turners for you, and they are coming. Clear your mind of the market negativity in our index unaware process, and with a clear, unbiased perspective, search for those stocks starting to go against the market sentiment. See what's really there, not what you want to see. Important. BHP is one of those stocks. Firstly, iron ore took a tumble. So too copper followed. And now crude treads water around $100 US, with sellers currently pressuring the price. For sure it will be a wild and fun ride, but BHP, where are you buyers? As the price falls, the opportunity gets more enticing by the week. Okay, so we're going to go through a few charts in a second. So just to start this off, we're going to go to our, front page, ASX, when to buy. This is very, very important. Remember the situation, why you buy, and you will know what to buy. Okay, so we're going to go through this week, normal format, background, ASX 200, Stockradar portfolio, ASX stocks, and then trading tactics. A good one today on when to buy. Okay, as the market falls, some stocks are starting to attract buyers. So what's next? And we're going to look at that in a minute. But firstly, we'll go to the Dow Jones, which you just see on the screen there. Still down, no change in anything. We've had a rally the last couple of weeks. It's off its lows, but still all the pressure's down. The volume has slightly decreased a little bit. Momentum is still weak, so really the pressure is still well down there. And if we go to the Nasdaq, similar picture there. We're getting this big picture down, huge volume. The volume has waned off a little bit like the Dow. So, the selling pressure may be starting to ease as we approach some of these support levels like S1 on the Nasdaq, and on the Dow we had around about this big S1 here down around 28,000. Okay, right, look, commodities. Okay, we're looking at Dr. Copper at the moment. Well, it got a big case of COVID or a big case of the flu, but it just blew itself away, and we can see the volume down here and this down here. That's not really a good sign for world economies, because that's what they say with Dr. Copper is the main thing. So how far down? Still falling. I don't know. You let these things fall, let them do their thing, and you can't do much about it. Gold similarly has fallen. It's come into a bit of support here, down at the S1 level. It's still very weak. Volume has been quite steady down here. Momentum is starting to turn negative. So gold to me really is a wait and watch. There may be a bit of support here, but I'm certainly not expecting much. What I expect doesn't really matter, but that's the fact of the matter. It's hit S1 and it's holding for the moment. It's the last support hope. And if it breaks through there, breaks below there, we've got lower prices for there. Okay, now let's have a look at Brent crude. Brent crude is, we've tried, and we had a lot of long tails down here as buyers kept buying, bidding this up, but it just actually failed up here. And now we've got some real selling pressure appearing here, and we've got a couple of big red bars and some of these big down weeks. So the sellers are certainly challenging those buyers, and S1 is where it needs to hold, because this area around here, it's getting a bit below the average, this area here. So this whole area of interest really is this spot just here. Okay, so we're going to watch that pretty carefully. For the moment, there certainly is some pressure coming from those from the bears. Okay, so let's go now to the ASX 200. a 10 stock driven index. Okay, now this really is, it's had a bit of a rally. There's nothing really exciting about this. It's come down, it's broken below the average, it's well down. Any rallies are getting knocked on at the moment. This one failed, this one probably will, as the momentum is so weak. So the ASX 200 is not looking that good. The Stockradar portfolio is down again, another 1 to 18. So I've got 16 stock picks and 2 ETFs, which is Bear and BBOZ, which are bearish ones. The conservative portfolio still holds 3 stocks out of 20, giving it a 15% equity, 85% cash. And the Stockradar is now down to 16 of 162 stocks in our revised data universe for this 6 months. So we're at about 10% and 90% cash. So we are ready and waiting. So I'm just scouring through the market at the moment, trying to find some good things for you. The Energizer portfolio still holds with 3 stocks. A couple of our stock picks are still holding in there, 3 out of 5. The 10 stock is now down to 4 out of 10. And I don't very rarely see that portfolio that low. So there certainly is a worry out there at the moment. There's one sector in the trend intensity rating, at the top of the trend intensity rating table, which you can see on Stockradar, which organises all my stocks into their sectors and rates them all, is the utility sector. Okay, and it's doing quite well. So for a full list of sector rankings and Stockradar stock picks, go to the Stockradar Trading Centre. Okay, now let's get into the good bit. Let's go and look at some charts. Now, I'm sort of wandering through some of these charts, which may excite you, they may not, but I'm really what I want to go through today is really why we want to buy, and so we'll know what to buy. So we're looking for those things on basis what I do to try and help us understand when we should be buying and when we should not be buying. Okay, IEL Education, it's an interesting stock, quite volatile stocks, a little bit careful, coming down in a series lower lows and lower highs, which is interesting. IEL has been dragged down by weak sentiment, not active selling. Easy to turn such a stock. When I say that, I look at the volume patterns, I see the selling down here, quite heavy here, then we've got a bit of a rally here, and we can see the volume patterns are quite good. Then it comes down again, reasonable selling, but again here we've got some more volume. So if I just push this up a little bit for you, you can just see a little bit better these volumes that are coming into these rallies, and that's a really good sign. So there is people interested in here. I isolate all these areas of support for me to watch. This one has failed, so it moves to the next one. It's come up here, and it's come up here to this average, so that's an area where we would like to see it get through to such some encouragement. At the moment it doesn't. So support where? Hard to determine. Isolate the main supports, which I've done. Isolate main supports for a major correction. It could be anywhere. So you don't look at your little supports in these sorts of corrections. You look for your major support. So there's a fairly good one down here at S2, which was resisting. We had a spike through it, but a bit around here, and it supported it here, and it has supported it here. So S2 is finding up. So S1 has gone. Not interested in that one anymore. And here we are with our pattern. So we're looking at our volume. This is starting to turn, and I'm getting a lot of this sort of selling pressure easing type thing at the moment. So IEL looks interesting. Watch it. Trend intensity rating 7. I'm going to take you through the process of what we look for, step-by-step process, because this is just the early days for IEL Education at this stage. Now, I did mention to you about the retail stocks. They've all been hammered. And JB Hi-Fi, for years, it has been an interesting stock in that this whole pattern here is a big distribution pattern. Now, I love JB Hi-Fi. I love what they do. I love the yield. I love the stock. But it's going down because generally the economy, look at Dr. Copper, is not looking that flash. So JB Hi-Fi will suffer no matter how good the business is, unfortunately. It's the bounce back stage where from that we're interested in. So for the moment, we've broken out of this big trading range. So now this is a big resistance level for it to get through. And I think it'd be highly unlikely at the moment, without some more impetus to get through it, that it will fail. Volume pretty strong on the downside, still dominating. Again, I'm not looking for a clear answer, but I can just see there the sellers are still on top of this one and the price is going down. And momentum is pretty bad since it tried this break up here, and we actually did take this little break up here, but it failed. And now it's just come down. Sellers are just almost capitulated, and the buyers have almost capitulated, and the sellers are just driving this one down. Trend intensity rating is -6 for JB Hi-Fi, so nothing really good there at the moment. Then we go to another little one called Super Retail. Now the interesting one, this one, I'm going to go back and give you a bit of a long-term picture on this one, because it's quite an interesting stock. In what's happened, because I did mention to you before, major corrections require looking at major support levels. So for super cheap auto, you can see here we have let me just get all this in here for you so you can see it all. My stock alerts. Okay. Now, here's your trading range for super cheap auto. Currently, we're trading trend intensity rating of -7, and it has come down off this high again pretty quickly, and this is where you would expect it to end. You sometimes get these little spikes out, and that was, I don't know, it was a COVID spike probably, I'm not too sure what that was there, but it came back up pretty quickly. So I'm really looking for the main points, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 points here, which gives me some validity to the line rather than put it right down here. So approaching an interesting level at S1, okay, major corrections require identification of major levels. This is an 8-year trading range. We don't really want to see this break down, unfortunately, because it wouldn't be good news. So we'll just go back and focus a little bit so you can see the trading range, what has happened there. So now we look at this area here, which we're interested in. We can see lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And volume has been reasonably, dull and uninteresting. And this has been very, very weak. Okay, so super cheap auto for the moment really is not there yet. But we're now, the first thing I do when I look for a new opportunity to buy is I look for buying support. And that's what I'm going to do now, because I can't do anything until I see that. Okay, so I'm waiting for buying support on all these stocks to appear. So the retail stocks, no matter, the yields will probably come back a little bit if the business aren't so good, but they are high yielding stocks. And when the price gets nice and ripe, as always happens, we get a turn and we get a kick, and all of a sudden everybody wants to buy it. So we're just waiting for that opportunity. I'm trying to spot those opportunities for you because I know they will occur, as they always do. So don't be too despairing. Okay, a stock I haven't looked at for quite some time, and this is CSL, and this is an interesting one because it's a lot further along down the track as far as it's been a bit different. It hasn't really come off with the market. It's just been supported above that S1 level at around 240 for quite some time, but resistance up around 340 has stopped any range. So we've got a trading range here. We need a resolution to this trading range. I do have a small trend reversal here, high, low, and it breaks above here. I didn't get enough trend intensity on this one, and again, I've got a big resistance level above here to get through. My real opportunity for CSL is when this R1 breaks. That's going to put this or below it, behind it, and at the moment you can see there's a lot of support down here. So this is a really good supporting area. So the long-term buy and hold, I might look to buy at that sort of level. But for me, I'm a trader, and I'm looking for that momentum move. And until it gets through there, I'm not sure what's going to happen. So sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So we just have to be a little bit patient on CSL until we know exactly what is happening. There you are. There's the chart of CSL. It looks a lot more interesting than a lot of charts I can see in the market at the moment. Okay. So is it starting to happen? This is better. So you can see all these things are starting to turn. So this is where our opportunities are going to come. We wait for the evidence to build. We don't sort of see one little thing and say, well, this is it. There's a bit of buying support. Let's go for it. Not good enough. We have to wait for some real evidence to build. I just thought I'd show the Ansell chart. The main factor of its interest is where the price is now. It's come down from 42 to 21 in about just over a year. Okay, but if I look back here, let's go right back here, you can just see this huge area of support where it's right at now. So now I think I've hit support, number one, positive. Okay, now I want to see some sort of rally. A little bit of volume maybe, nothing really particular. This is looking a bit more interesting, pressure starting to ease. So again, we may well start the reversal process when we look at this at the moment. But here we see an opportunity to start building a case. Okay, so they're all a little bit different, they all behave differently. In perspective, the trend intensity rating is still weak at -8. It's always good when you look at these things to see what's happening here. Then go to your trend intensity rating, and that will say if it's +4 or +5, it's great. But if it's not, it's -8. So it's still very, very weak. Okay, so don't get too ahead of yourself on some of these things, because some of these stocks, like the retail, like the health stocks I mentioned, there's great demographics there, and the opportunity for these stocks when the market turns will be fantastic. So let's just have a good look at Sonic Healthcare. It's a good stock. Remember, the trend is down until told otherwise, and we haven't been told that. So we've got support here at S1, 0.1. It's rallied, 0.2. Okay, moving average little trend line here. Okay, that's an area of interest that I'm going to be watching soon. If we can hold here and rally through here, we may get something interesting. I can see here a little bit of buying is appearing in some of these rallies here. Bit of selling there, so it's a bit mixed still, but there is some buying interest, which is a really good sign. So I'm just building it and watching this stuff. pressures are easing down here. So we're not here, put it this way. We're not here with the volume and this get plummeting. We are here now, trend intensity of -7. We found some support. We've got a little bit of buying interest down here and the downside pressures might be easing. So we'll watch it because remember, we've got to be very careful because below S1, that triggers another leg down to our next major level, which will be down here. So that's what I'm looking at for Sonic Healthcare. I'm afraid we haven't got our buy signals yet, but there you go. Just going to look at a couple of stocks that I used to cover, but I'm not covering now because the market cap's just shrunk so far, so quickly. But I thought you might look at them because I'm sure a lot of you are interested in some of these stocks. Nanosonics, an interesting one. If we look at this, if we talk about looking for support, well, here we are for Nanosonics. We're in a big support zone down here. We've got a little bit of volume occurring on this rally, which is fantastic news. If I just zoom that up, you can see that bit of volume there. And this is starting to kick up a little bit as well. So this is signs of a bottom, not signs to buy. Okay, so we're waiting for more things to develop. And as I go through trading tactics, you'll see what I'm looking for. So trend intensity is still -7, like a lot of them are. So we've come off the lows, come off the real downward push, but we're still not that good. But we've got an area of interest we're going to look at. This is a bit of a resistance area here. The average is there. So that's a bit of interest, but we'll see how it develops for the moment. So good signs in Nanosonics. Polynovo is another one that I don't cover anymore because it's come down from $4 to $1. So it really wasn't a very happy stock. How far did it come down? It's come down 66%, which is a pretty big fall, especially if you're holding it. So a lot of those growth stocks, you know, they get overexcited, over-optimistic. There's no real value in there. It's all perceived value, and that's when these stocks come down, thumping down. So from $4 to $1, 66% down. If you're holding the stock, God help you. But you don't have to. Okay, so what I'm looking at here now is I've got the downtrend down here. We've now gone above the average. We've got a support point here. We've got a lower high here. We've got a bit of volume starting to appear in here. We have some volume starting to appear down here, and also this is almost turned positive. So Polynovo is quite well down the route as far as looking for reversal patterns. Okay, so as to what I'm actually looking for, we'll have to wait and see. But Polynovo for the moment, we have this low, and we're really looking for a proper trend reversal because this looks like a sort of a minor trend reversal, but it's too small and there wasn't enough trend intensity. So I'm now looking for this rally to pull back and not create a low, not create a new low. I want a higher low here, which means buyers are coming in. Then I want to break this level, and that will trigger a buy. So, you know, there's things to happen yet, but it all looks pretty good. Polynovo, and its trend intensity rating has got to -4. So again, for perspective, it's in a lot better shape than Sonic Health or some of those retail stocks like JB Hi-Fi and SUL, because you can see the price action has been well supported down here, finally, so that's a good thing. Okay, so that's Polynovo, which has been a good stock. I did show you the RMD chart last week, so if you want to look at that one, you can go to Stockradar to check out how that's looking now. It's quite interesting, by the way. And I also went through a few techos last week, and they're all looking interesting. Computershare, Altium, so go to Stockradar and check out where they are. For the moment, I want to go through two other big stocks in the techo area, and that is Xero, which, again, it happens to them all. No matter how bullish you are, you've got to be so careful. When these things break, you get out, and we're out way up here somewhere. And this stock has gone from 150 to 75, so we've got a 50% correction there, bang, bang. Mixed at best, but XR is probably in the zone. So we've got a high here, we've got some support here. It's in this area here. It could well be a good support area around here. We've still got pretty heavy selling here and a very little bit of buying, so not a lot of interest really. Downside pressures are easing, so the sellers seem to be finished, but the buyers aren't ready yet, put it that way. So they have been shaken, not stirred, they have been shaken because this is a huge drop. Okay, WiseTech, not quite so bad. Okay, it's come off for sure, but from 60 to 35, so there's still almost 50%, but it's a pretty strong stock. And we've also got here a high here and a supporting area here. So this is also getting down into an area where there is a little bit of support potentially, but that's about all I have. Up here I have some resistance through here. I have the moving average and I have the downtrend line. This area here is one to watch. but it will be tough to get through at the moment, especially considering the light buying. So that's what WiseTech looks at. It's still trend intensity rating of -8, so really nothing much there for us technicians to put a thing on. But we've got to work through the process because they'll all be different and they all behave differently. So we've got to work through these processes and understand what the price action is telling us clearly. Okay, one other little stock I would like to show you. Again, this is the stupidity we can get caught up in sometimes, and it always happens. I've been around for a few years. I'm not an old man, I'm not a young man, but I've seen a lot of these falls and I know exactly how they work, especially when the growth stocks. So if we look at this stock here is called Kogan, and this stock could do no wrong. It just went from $3-4 and went up to $24 in a very short period of time, less than 12 months. Okay, and from $24.65 now down to $2.81, and you can work out the percentage fall on that if you like, but that has now taken the last 2 years to do all that work. But it has come back to a support zone. Okay, so Kogan sells online stuff you would think would be pretty good business as long as they're doing the right thing. I'm not too sure how he's running his business. This is telling me at the moment they're obviously not making a lot of money, or it got far too overblown up here. So, really we just need to wait to see. There's no buying interest here. This is flat and boring. This is in the support zone. So I have one positive here, and that's buying support possibly, and I have lots of negatives, downtrends below the average, momentum weak, no volume. So that was just a stock I thought I'd show you, because you just got to be careful and don't get caught in these things, because a growth stock like this, a build like this, when you get a signal to get out, and I always have my stop nice and tight, I get out because they will collapse. Okay, so that's Kogan. There are some other ones interesting that you may want to look at in this area. Look, EML payments. I know it's had a tough time, but the price has also come back a lot. Nearmap's another one you might want to have a look at as well, which is looking interesting. Look at the process I use, see what you can work out for yourself. So for an update on all our stocks, go to Stockradar. It's getting interesting. My first step is to clear the chart, and this is what I've done with a lot of these things. I will just clear all my notations and stuff on it, and I'll rebuild them. And it's a really good way to start getting a good perspective, because you get hangovers of I've got a support level here, or I bought here and then I sold there. All these things historically, forget them all. We're dealing in the now, dealing in the present, and that's what the market's telling us. Okay, so that's about all I got on the charts for you today. So let's go and have a look at Nasdaq stocks, when to buy. I'm going to go through the process, because as we know, if we know why to buy, we'll know what to buy and when to buy. Okay, so this is what we're going to go through today. Fairly simple process. Okay, as I've gone through today, the first thing I do, my step one, is to isolate price support, and that comes from price action. So I'm going to work through this chart here. No names, no figures, nothing, just the price action, pure and simple. I have a resistance level up here, I have a downtrend line here, and I have a support level here. So resistance becomes support. So this stock fell into here, and actually if you look at all these little long candles here, there's some good buying support here. We probably need to look at some volume and other things, but I just wanted you to focus on the price. First off, that's what we look at first off. So the price has come back to support, and it has held. That's a really, really good sign. Okay, so it's found support. Step two, buying support through volume. I can see price support through the price, buying support through volume. So if I look at the volume pattern, same chart. Okay, now we look at the volume, and we all of a sudden go, hang on, look at this. Look at, there's a lot of buying here. So all of a sudden, and this really wasn't, apart from the initial selling, this really was dragged down by the market. I think I showed you a chart before that was IEL, which really just came down because the market came down almost. There wasn't active selling in there. Anyway, ResMed has found some good buying here, and solid volume stops the fall and pushes the price higher. And that's what we want to see. So that's the second step. Haven't bought anything yet, okay? But it looks good. Don't get too excited just yet. Okay. Indicator support. So I use two indicators, moving average and MACD. In this case, the prices now start to break above the MACD. So that's a good point for it's another plus for trend intensity. Okay. Now look at the MACD. It has stopped falling and it has turned, but it's still below the zero level, which is key to me. The MACD in a turning trend, after a big trend, it will always be the last to turn up. But I can get a positive enough trend intensity rating without the MACD. It will only go to probably 6, but still that's good enough. And if the MACD jumps on board, it can then whip up to 8 or 9 or 10. So here we've got price support, volume support, Moving average support, MACD yet to do, but it is turning positive, so that's good. Okay, the next chart, price triggers a trend reversal or a new high. So in this case, it will be a trend reversal. So what am I looking for from here on? Okay, so this is where we are at the moment. Okay. Right here, now, the dotted red lines are what I'll be looking for. That's not what the market's going to do, but it shows you what the principle of what I'm looking for. So we have a rally here. We have substance. We have a turn. We have a break of the moving average. Trend intensity is looking a lot better, not giving a signal yet. So what I want to see now from this point here, if it stops here, is a pullback. Is a pullback to a higher low. It must not trade down below here for a trend reversal. If it does trade down here and creates a higher low, then any rally that goes through this previous peak triggers a trend reversal. Okay? If I've got a bit of volume and other stuff are coming along, which is already looking pretty good, then I've got a good sound signal. So I've taken a lot of time and a lot of analysis here to get my signal, to validate my signal and put those odds right in my corner that says, yes, this is where it's going. Stick in your stop just in case you're wrong to protect your capital. So I'm all about taking an odds-on signal but protect my capital, okay? Once I'm in the trade, it then becomes purely a function of money management, not analysis. Analysis is interesting, but it doesn't make my decision. What makes my decision is how much money I'm making or losing and where my trailing stop is, okay? So this will or would complete a trend reversal here for this stock. Okay, so quite interesting, but this is the simple process I look through, and every stock must do this in a trend reversal. A new high is a different thing. Okay, my best advice: base your signals on fact, not on hope. And I know a lot of people do. They're quite happy to look a bit of volume and say, let's just hope this one, but we don't want to buy these falling knives because it's dangerous. So what you should do now is go and run your scanner and look for the volume buying spikes. That's your first clue, okay? Evidence of buying is only the first step, not a buy signal. We slowly, safely and conservatively build our evidence case to completion, which is identifying the odds of the price rising in a trend. So we jump on an evidence-based emerging trend, okay? So it really is that's how we do it, okay? So trend reversals. This is an example of a trend reversal. You can see down here, we've got a low here at support. It rallied up. We had a little bit of volume here. This started to turn a little bit. Nothing happening yet, but my trend intensity is now starting to push up towards -6, -5. I then get the stock, comes back here, makes a higher low, which is essential for a trend reversal, and then it bangs through here, and we can see the volume jump with it, and MACD crosses zero. Remember our alignment of the stars. We have a break. We have moving average and we have volume. Trend intensity will probably become a maximum of about 9 or 10 here, okay? So this has reversed a big downtrend. It's a good signal. We've taken a lot of time and patience. So for something like the other stock I was just showing you, we're just around about here at the moment. So there could be a lot of work yet before we go. And so be patient, because what this is about making money, not putting risk on the line when you could lose money. I really want those things to be in my favour. And that's why patience is a very important aspect of trading, okay? So we buy a bottom swing higher. The seller, what happens is the sellers capitulate, and that drives buyers' confidence. Once the sellers go away, the buyers can bang on, and that's why you get these fairly fast moves up once the sellers have gone away. Momentum trend follows, which is what I'm trying to do, is capture momentum trends, my primary aim in life. Okay, a resurgent momentum swing higher triggered by a new high in price. There's not a lot of new highs around at the moment, but I just thought I'd show you, because this is my other signal. A new high is simply a new weekly high above an old high, okay? Now, invariably it will be above the average because it's making a new high. Here we've got volume, which is quite good, and also the MACD is positive. These MACD and the moving average are generally going to be positive anyway if you're making a new high. So it's almost a fait accompli. If you make a new weekly high, you buy it with a stop. And this stock here, pretty well doubled in price pretty quickly. So this is a new high. New highs don't always work out like that, but when they do, they're beautiful things for our bank accounts. Okay, so ASX stocks, when to buy. I hope you know now a little bit, based on what I do, how I make my decisions and why I make my decisions, okay? So that's about it for today, really. Buy opportunities are appearing. So I haven't shown you everything today. You have to go to Stockradar and you'll see a lot of stocks there that are in interesting positions worth watching, and you'll see the ones climbing up the trend and intensity scale getting ready to trigger buys. Not a lot of green ones at the moment because not a lot of stocks going up. So the first buy opportunities will fly under the radar of index weakness. Are you going to follow the plan in the face of a generally weak market? Because you must. 90% of those stocks really can often behave differently to the ASX. The ASX 200 is driven by these 10 major stocks, okay, and that creates sentiment, creates bearishness and bullishness. If we detach from that, we can see some really good opportunities. So many leaders have yet to show any buying support, which is still unnerving investors still, but not us or you. We have begun the process of identifying these prospects with clarity, perspective and unbiased discipline. Can you do that? In trading tactics, we clearly demonstrate the simple and logical process we follow with a mystery live example. I think I might have given away the mystery in the middle. But anyway, there it is. Check the weekly stock trading standard updates for all the developing prospects as they trigger entries. Okay, so stay safe, watch your trends, heed your stops, and I'll see you next week. And I'll be back in the office, back from the snow, and I'll see you then. Bye now.